You are now listening to Sentinel Soundbites.
So we are live. All right.
Hello and welcome back to the Sentinel Soundbites podcast. I am your host, Dylan Bunnell, and today we are joined by two very special guests, one of our own and Dr. Rosemary Hodges, and then one is a representative of the Tennessee Valley Authority. You may know it as TVA, and that is Lauren Pelto. Want to set the stage for what we're meeting on and what we're talking about here today. Dr. Hodges, I'm going to start with you because internships, partnerships are kind of the word of the day here. And you are right in the middle of all that from day to day. So educate the audience, if you will, just on what those two words mean to our school, how they came to be, and what they are for us.
Yes, sure. So internships and partnerships are magical words around here. And so we start with our partnerships. And so our partnerships are made up of people and agencies that become educational partners to us. And they are companies that are invested into ASCTE. These companies pour in to ASCTE from the very beginning. And so you might get a chance to walk around ASCTE and you'll see their names on the walls. And so you'll see names like RTX or SAIC. You'll see TVA. And so when you see these names, you know that they have invested into the ASCTE and they are pouring into the students. And so by doing that, by the time the students become seniors, they have an opportunity to do an internship in these agencies. And so we are just really excited to put these two words together. And the students are working hard from year one to get to year 4 to do an internship.
And then to loop in, and you mentioned TVA having, you can actually see in the background here the TVA logo on the wall for those that are watching. Ms. Pelto, to loop you in here, first off, can you just educate maybe someone who hears the letters TVA or Tennessee Valley Authority on what it is you guys do? I'm a Shoals guy, so those 3 letters ring very true to me. But can you kind of give us a background on that before we talk about you?
Yeah, a lot of times when people hear about TVA or think about TVA, they think about our history, and it's bringing the valley out of depression and a lot that we did around the creation of our dams and then bringing electricity to the valley. But really, these days, we're so sophisticated. And one thing that we like to talk about and think about with education partnerships is just the vast amount of jobs you can do with TVA. We have 10,000 employees. We have everything from archaeologists, biologists, nuclear engineers. You run the gamut, and IT and cyber is a huge part of that, which is why we chose to sponsor and partner with the School of Cyber. But I just love this idea of getting to work with students, bring them in on an internship, and learn from our team and see all that TVA provides and does in the Valley, but then also for them to learn a little bit about why do the lights come on, or how does electricity work as you're coming to school each day, powering up your laptop. Where does that power come from, and how can you be a part of keeping that legacy going?
Beautiful. I appreciate you sharing that with us. And now let's talk about your role with TVA a little bit and kind of what you do and what your title is and what that brings and what you do day to day there.
Sure, yeah. I'm state director for Alabama. I oversee all of our government and community relations functions. So a big part of that is working with our community, finding partners, being able to lean in and leverage people in our local communities, whether that's serving and volunteering, whether that's promoting internships, whether that's just creating visibility about the work we're doing, and so people know, hey, why are you here? What are you doing? But really, we enjoy getting to work with students because a lot of what we're seeing, our region is growing at 3 times the national average. And y'all can see that with buildings going up and apartments and housing and jobs. So what does that require to build all of that? That's energy. And I think we're going to see a lot of the need for more workforce, a stronger workforce. I know TVA's Labor Forecast Center, we're looking 10 years out for students and folks to come into our workforce. And that means starting at K through 12 and really getting students when they're trying to figure out, hey, what does my journey look like? Where should I start? What's available to me? And School of Cyber is a great opportunity for us to get in with students when they're young and when they have the opportunity to kind of be able to lean in and explore all that we have to offer.
You caught my attention there when you mentioned you guys are looking 10 years ahead and starting to project jobs. One thing, the school was created as a workforce development solution. So that phrase is a very hot topic around here. Can you talk through your lens, and Dr. Hodges, you're welcome to jump in on that, kind of that workforce development piece as a whole and how you guys view that.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this region's growing 3 times the national average. In TVA, while we have a large presence across our 7 states, we have a huge presence in Alabama with over 2,000 employees, a lot of them at our Browns Ferry nuclear facility, but also we have several dams in Alabama, gas plants. You see the full portfolio of what TVA has to offer from the energy sector across Alabama. But to meet that growing demand of people moving here, we are undergoing our largest capital investment that TVA has done in our history, putting over 6,000 more new megawatts on the system. So that's a great time to be in the industry, and it's a really cool time to work for TVA because there's so much growth, and just getting to see that and be a part of that investment in the region.
Great. Well, I appreciate you sharing that with us and talking about, again, that's a word that gets tossed around here a lot. It's really probably a reason we were stood up. So Dr. Hodges, can you, as you hear that phrase that you've probably said more than once in your time here, talk about the workforce development after hearing her and how that aligns with what we're doing?
We are backfilling those jobs. So there are a lot of vacancies in cyber and engineering and cyber and engineering adjacent jobs. And so we are really just doing our part and making sure that we are preparing students and getting them ready to fill those positions.
Love it. Beautiful. Well, Dr. Hodges, to loop you back in, I know this past spring was the first time that we had tied in physically interns with TVA. You guys power our cyber range, which we're appreciative of, but you stepped into the world. Your guys' deal is unique, though, because we're not, a lot of our internships are going like right here in the city or to Research Park. Yours is not. We are sending students across state lines to Chattanooga. So Dr. Hodges, I want you to tell you, some people might hear that and be like, well, you're sending kids to Chattanooga, but we're the Alabama school. So just kind of talk about how that came to be, why we're sending kids to Chattanooga to partner with TVA and just how all that works.
You know what? It was amazing. So we're not just a statewide school. So our companies are national and international. And so we did not want to just keep them hidden right here in the Tennessee Valley. And so Chattanooga was an opportunity. TVA is based in Chattanooga, right here in this region. And so when they offered the opportunity for them to leave Huntsville and go to Chattanooga, we jumped on the chance. And so for internships, students they work from 9 to 1:30. And so Monday through Thursday. And so we had to think about how are we going to get them to Chattanooga, what were they going to do when they got there. Students work Monday through Thursdays. And so in that work process, we wanted to make sure that they had the opportunity to have boots on the ground and actually do the work for TVA, just like the other students were doing at the agencies that they were assigned. And so we had a chance to work out the process so that they would leave here by 5:30 in the morning, get there to Chattanooga, get with their teams there, and have the opportunity to work on site. And so when they were not in Chattanooga, they did some virtual work for them. And so we were really excited that TVA were partners with us in beta testing what an internship would look like when they were out of state.
Sure.
And so now they have helped us create a roadmap on something that was blended and something that we could do if it was full-time out of state.
Well, and they're setting the precedent of like, hey, this can be done. So others will follow suit now and follow the lead of TVA. But
Absolutely.
Lauren, I know in getting to sit in some conversations with Dr. Hodges as she talks to partners, whether it be potentially or standing, we are adamant that our internship is not running to grab coffee. And from listening to you talk, TVA is very much aligned with that and obviously leaned into that. So can you kind of talk, maybe not specific projects, but just philosophically how that works with you guys and going, hey, we want these kids to come in and work and just how that aligns with how you guys believe and how you lead?
Yeah. When I think about our cyber team and you think about the importance of energy and protecting the grid, I think it's key for students to understand what that entails, what that looks like, how do we protect the grid. I think ethical hacking was one thing that our team was looking at training students to do, and being able to work remotely, using their laptops, being able to implement technology through our teams and have that dynamic of working locally, but also being able to work on a laptop and work with our team out of Chattanooga, but also just getting to see hands-on, what does our system of operations center look like? What does behind the scenes look like? And how are y'all protecting the grid day to day? And what does a day in the life look like for somebody working in TVA IT? Then also just going to see our assets and seeing the critical infrastructure that we protect. I think they got to tour a few of our dams and a lot of our TVA assets, so that it was good for them to get to see.
So our students would come back excited about the fact that they were, when they were not in Chattanooga, that they literally were asked to try and penetrate into the system.
Mm.
And so the fact that they were taking the skills that they were taught here and trying to hack into a system, and TVA they were just on the money. They would find them every time. And so the students were excited knowing that, one, they learned about ethical hacking. Two, they also learned the fact that we have really good people out there that are protecting our systems. And so TVA had a pathway, and they saw the grid that was like, no, you're not getting in here. And I don't care how good you are in hacking, we have you. You're not getting in here. So it was a beautiful way for the kids to come full circle.
But it's real.
And understand.
And you have a real legitimate standing company going, hey, try to break in.
Yeah.
And that's real education.
That was great education.
So that's just one of the ways that I feel like and appreciate you guys for having the, I guess, openness to be like, yeah, we're going to let some teenage students poke around and try to get in our system, but why not? I assume you guys are better for it too. So Dr. Hodges, I'm going to stick with you before we roll back. Talk about, you just alluded to like that one specific, but just when you are talking with our kids and they go have these experiences with internships and with these agencies, maybe some of the not so much specific because you just touched that, but feedback that they give on, I could never get this in a classroom. I could never get this. We have the subject matter experts here in the building and we give them that every day, but still there's something to that in the world hands-on approach. Can you kind of speak on that a little bit, the feedback you get?
So I think one of the beauty parts about this is that we have, when they come back every day, we have a debrief. And so students get a chance to tell us exactly what's happening on the job, and they get a chance to share with their peers what's happening at their agencies. And so the TVA guys would come back in and talk about the things that they were learning. They would talk about the things that they were being exposed to, and they would absolutely tell the underclassmen when they would come back into the academic building, you want to try to get to TVA as an internship. And so it has now become the talk of, please, you try to get there. And so it was one of those situations where the students started to understand that there was an absolute bridge over. And so we have a briefing before they leave, and then we have a debrief when they come back. And so I remember one time, some of the TVA folks came over, and the students that were positioned at TVA got a chance to have a conversation with some of the higher ups. And they actually called one of their instructors' names and talked about how much he had taught them. And they were just so excited. And I was pleased as the academic dean that our students would give props to one of their instructors here and talk about how he had taught them so much in cyber, and they were absolutely able to take that information and bleed it over to TVA and then all of that ethical hacking. And so that instructor got a challenge coin. The kids got a challenge coin from TVA. And so it was just great. So they saw the bigger picture. They saw the bigger picture.
Well, I'll say, I think our teammates and employees were really excited to get to have the chance to have interns locally. A lot of them are based in Huntsville. They're some of the best in the industry at what they do, and being able to see the excitement from the students and work with them, we really enjoyed the opportunity.
Well, that is great. Well, I appreciate both of you giving us some insight to, one, how partnerships work, two, what TVA is, how we've got involved. No pressure in putting you on the air, but we're going to beg you to take more interns in the future, and to give some people behind the scenes. When Dr. Hodges says, we give our kids a chance to kind of rank what they do, and so and what they would prefer. It doesn't always work that way, but if you're wondering, what do you get to pick your internship? In a way, you do. You get to kind of rank what your preferences are, and then her and her team work to divide that out. And so we hope to be sending more to TVA in the future, and appreciate all you guys are doing with the cyber range and with our interns. And all things considered, we are very fortunate to be aligned with Tennessee Valley Authority. Dr. Hodges, thank you for your work and your time as always, and we will all look forward to talking to you again soon.